I've been working on this bomb system for the game. Thing is, the game has to be fun, and while it definitely was, I just wasn't sure it was enough. Now, it has this system where you directly throw grenades and mini bombs, giving the game an extra layer of control and somewhat setting it aside from other survival likes. There is still a massive amount of, so to say, idle gameplay, where you just decide on movement with your input, but with this system, your reaction will have to be stepped up a notch as the player. The player is just much more involved now. So this is how it works. You get two types of bombs for now. One is a grenade, and one is like a little atom bomb style thing. The grenade is an incendiary grenade, which means it leaves flames where you throw it, and those flames have sort of like an AoE attack type. Now, these are like any ability in the game. You unlock them right at the start, but then you are able to upgrade them as far as you like until you hit the ceiling. These are active elements, meaning you control them directly. You basically point where you want them and click either right or left to make them happen. The grenade gets thrown and has an arc to its trajectory, whereas the bomb drops straight down. You only get a couple of these to use at the start, but you are able to get more by killing enemies, and then some enemies will drop more for you to pick up. That's the system in a nutshell. It's pretty simple, but it works well and it's definitely fun. Apart from this, I've also added two new idle attacks, Thunder Strike and Spark. These are what they sound like, a thunder spark that shoots out from the player and hunts down enemies, and a thunder strike that randomly strikes down enemies every few seconds. The spark will bounce between enemies, but that functionality is not quite working yet. These are also upgradable. Now, some audio updates. My brother Alvain, who does most of the audio work for Align Games, has made a new song for the game. Check it out. Sounding pretty awesome in my opinion. It's sort of like a rock Halloween style tune. I had a comment about the game feeling too flat visually, which I agreed with. It needed layering, and I 100% agree. So, I've added this system that casts 2D shadows, and I think it makes a pretty big difference. I've also added some light outlining, as well as sharpening and post-processing overlays. Is it looking good? I definitely think so. What do you think? I'll do a before and after so you can compare. I'm sure you'll agree that the difference is quite massive. I've worked on adding additional visual complexity and depth, and by making everything important stand out more. I think it looks great and adds a lot to the overall experience. The outlines, shadows, and screen shake will all be configurable and disableable from the options menu, which I've been working on. This is pretty simple but functional. In this options menu, you can choose to enable screen shake, outlines, and shadows. These options are for player choice, accessibility, and performance. As cool as the shadow system is, it might be too much for some older computers and devices. The game is touch ready and might come out in mobile devices in the future, so I want to make sure that it can actually work on them. Screen shake makes a big difference to the game feel, but not everybody likes that kind of thing. Outlines provide some depth in visuals, but might be too much for some players, just too much going on visually. Making these toggleable and configurable gives players the choice to customize their own experience, at least to a certain extent. So, I'm nearing the demo release. I always said that this would be a short game, and so I've had to cut some potential additions to the game. I initially planned to have a robust statistics system where you could see exactly what your stats, buffs, and boons are. I don't think I'll have the time to add this to the demo, but I'll consider adding it for the full release. I was heavily considering a few other things. Poison effects on the player and on enemies with advanced health bars to show it. Specific strengths and weaknesses for enemies and for the player. Advanced AI for enemies to enable all-around more advanced gameplay structures. A robust shop system where the player can buy and sell weapons and gear. Now, I'm not saying that these things will definitely be left out of the game. I really do want to add them. It's just that I don't know if it's realistic in terms of the time that I have left. I am aiming to release the demo by February's Next Fest 2025 and the full game in mid-March 2025, so my time is very, very limited. Let's see what else I can get done. The overall point of this game was to make something in a limited time frame, and that always means having to cut certain things. It's just about cutting the right things and keeping the important stuff. The skill comes in deciding what's what. But I can always do a sequel and add these sort of items in if the game does well commercially. And that's how I think game design should be approached now, with iteration. I'm aiming to have the game demo ready for Next Fest, which is getting closer. So that's more or less it for this devlog. My time to work on the game is rather limited, and I have many other projects and clients that take precedence, but I think overall the progress is coming along quite nicely. My aim with this game is to create a fun, simple, and super addictive type of game that is stress-free and keeps you playing. If you think I'm on my way to achieving that, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep surviving.